Hello, and welcome back to Wonderland Asylum. I'm back today with stage 23 of the Hachette Partworks release of Build the U96 U-boat. Okay, so what are we doing in stage 23? Well, it's the radio room and the listening room. So we're basically adding some more details onto here, essentially, that we were working on previously, and that kind of completes most of the details for this particular section. So, without further ado, let's have a look and see what's in the pack. Okay, so here is the pack. Now, there are quite a lot of small bits in this one, so it may be quite difficult to kind of decipher what each thing is as we get further in. But here we have kind of the countertops for the desks. We have a door frame. We have the pieces for the stools. We have a bulkhead wall. Look at the detail in there for the gauges. We have another bulkhead wall. We have the desks themselves. We have a couple of doors which have glass panels in them. Or well, they're plastic, but they're supposed to be glass panels. You can see there. And we have some sprues. Again, look at that. Look at the detailing on there. Pre-printed to save my paint. Well, not specifically for me, but you know what I mean. And again, the same there. More details. So yeah, again, some very detailed work in this one. Get my tweezers to get the last few pieces out. It's a nice snug fit. Again, more panels with detailing on them. And a couple of wee silver bits. Just check there's nothing underneath the paper. No, there is not. Perfect. So, moving all of this to one side for now. The first thing we need is the stools. Again, I have my sprue cutters here. So again, you can see how fragile these look. So that's why I prefer using sprue cutters to trying to get in there with a scalpel or anything like that. Because it reduces the amount of pressure, directional pressure that you're putting on the parts. See, that's them off with no risk of the legs breaking. You don't want to do that. And now we take the top of the stools off. Now, as someone who sits at a desk for most of the day, both doing models and for my work, I can say these stools look hellish. Obviously, the comfort wasn't probably in the mindset when they were building their submarines, but oh, that looks horrible. And we will need some super glue. So the glue I use, I've mentioned several times, is Glue It, and it comes from the range. And I say I use these small tubes. Just squeeze a tiny little bit out. That's more than enough. Put the lid back on. This will do me a couple of stages. And then all we're doing is, again, I do use this as a glue applicator. It is essentially a straightened paper clip in a hand drill. So all we're doing, dropping a little bit of glue into the hole there, and then inserting the legs like that. Now, fortunately, as I say, this glue is really quick drying, so you're not going to have a great deal of trouble waiting for it to set or having to hold pieces in place for an extended period of time. That's one of the reasons I like this glue, actually. I did used to use Gorilla Super Glue Gel stuff, but I found it took a little bit longer to set, so I stopped using it. Now what we're doing, as you can see, there are 3 holes here, here, and here that look just like that, and the same next to it, here, here, and here. And all we're doing is putting a stool into each of these sections. so that whoever was manning the listening room or the radio room had somewhere to sit. There you go, looking just like that. Now, the next thing we need are the desks, which look like this, and the countertops, which are on the sprue. Now, I'm about to have a moan in a minute. Spoiler alert. But yeah, what we do is cut desks off the sprue. Now, when they've planned this model, I think they've maybe, missed a wee trick, because that there is the face you're going to see, and that is where they've chosen to mount the desk to the sprue. So you're going to have that horrible piece of discoloured plastic. Now, as I say, I will just try and file it away to sort of mitigate it a little bit. But again, you're still left with that kind of, it detracts from it. If you ask me, it makes it look like a model. I know how silly that sounds, but yeah, I'll see if I can get a matching paint to kind of go over that. But that kind of annoyed me a little bit looking at that, because when they were planning it, they knew which bit was going to be sort of public facing, so to speak, and they could have planned their mounting points a little better. Now, these will only go on to one desk. Now you can see the one with the longer slot goes on to this desk here. So you can see it's the only way the pins will line up. And the other one, obviously, goes on to the other one. So again, just a little bit of glue into the holes, or you can put it in the pins. I just prefer to put it in the holes. This desk top goes on here. Just like that. Now be sure you squeeze it down nice and tight, because bear in mind this section here will be the side that's facing towards the wall opening. So if there's a gap between the countertop and the desk, it's going to look a bit silly. Now actually look in there, I don't know if you can see that, but that countertop is bent and it's come that way. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of glue between that desk and the countertop and then hold it together, just to give it a little bit more, well, just basically to force that bend straight. That's annoyed me a little bit as well. But there we go. That looks like that. And again, doing the same here. A little bit of glue on. Push that into place, just like that. And then again, bringing this section over here, we're mounting the desks to the kind of deck. Now again, I'm sure they'll only fit in the correct position, but the one with the smaller slot goes on this side, and the one with the larger slot in the top goes on this side, just like that. So we'll glue them into place. Again, just a little bit of glue in the slots. There we go. Slots in very nicely. Fits nice and flush to the deck. That's good. And the same with this one. Again, just push them into place and they do sit nice and flush. Just like that. See, that's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Okay, so the next thing we need are the doors and the wall section, and we're going to be clipping the doors in. Now if I turn it around this way, which is the way they've got it there, these are the bits that are going into the deck. So what we want is to clip the doors in. If you look, there are details there. There's sort of a keyhole and a handle. We're wanting to make sure that the raised section, it said, should be above the diamond shape. So the raised bit, it should clip on like this. Okay, I'll try and show you what I mean once I clip the first one in. So you can see there, that raised piece should be above the kind of diamond section, just like that. And we'll do the same. Actually, no, that's wrong, because they should be, although that's, yes, that should be in that orientation, it should be facing out the way so you can actually see the detail. So it goes in like that. That makes more sense. So it's like this, with the raised section above the diamond. And again, the same on the other side. Just like that. Perfect. Now the next thing we need is the wall section, looking just like this. And we need the part that's labelled Part M, which I do believe is this large part here. It looks almost like a boiler. Okay. Cut that off the sprue. Again, just a quick file over the bottom. And it's going in to, oh, if I can do it without throwing the piece away, that would be fantastic. It's going on to the two holes there, oriented just like that. Again, just a little bit of glue on there, and a little bit of glue on here. Like that. And then the next piece we need is on this sprue here, and it's that piece with the hole, kind of the circle detail at the top. Again, clip and clip. And just a little bit of file just to remove the burrs where it's been cut off the sprue. Perfect. And that goes on just like that, with the circle detail facing closest to the boiler. I keep calling it the boiler because that's what it reminds me of. Okay, now the next piece we need is looking on the sprues for the detail I need. It's this piece here with the kind of black circle at the top, and I need the bit next to it that kind of looks almost like an oscilloscope, not an oscilloscope, don't know, but it's got a fuel gauge almost on it, almost like a barometer. That's the word I was looking for. An oscilloscope is something different entirely. So cut these two bits off. The bit with the black circle goes in to these two holes here. Just like that, clips in nicely, like that. And then this piece here goes next to it with the gauge detail, facing like that, with the gauge detail pointing away from that piece. I'll show you how it goes in just a second. It goes on just like that. Perfect. And that is all we're doing on that side for just now. I do believe. Yep, now we're just turning it over. And on the other side, we have one of the other parts off of this sprue, and it's this part here with the riveting detail around it, as you can see. Again, it's quite difficult. That one came off quite nicely, actually. There is a handle shape on it. I don't know if you can see it just there. And it is facing towards the curved section of the wall. Okay. So I think this is a junction box, actually, looking at it. I didn't tell you. So as I say, the handle goes facing towards the curved section. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but I will try and show you once I get it in place. You can see what I mean there. The handle is just there. Perfect. And then we need this detail here and this detail here off of this sprue. Excuse me. And again, oh dear. Perfect. Now this detail here, it looks like a kind of grill or a fan almost. It goes onto that raised section there with, again, the kind of handle detail pointing towards what's going to be the floor. Like that. And then this piece here, the kind of black and white circle, it goes in to the two slots there and there. With the black and white circle facing this detail here, or closest to this detail here. It goes on just like that. And now what we're doing is cutting these two details here off, and that one is going inside that one. Okay. Again. Oh, actually, nope, I'm wrong. It's not that piece there. It's this piece here with the detail on the outside of it. My apologies. I noticed when I looked at the mounting tab and so, well, that doesn't match. Oops. Okay. So again, a little bit of glue just on the inside here. It goes in just like that. And that piece fits into that slot there on top of this detail. And it's the one, just checking to make sure I'm putting it in the right place. Yes, it is, yes. it goes in the outward most detail at the most slot, which is this one here. It goes in just like that, so you can see. Then that's us for this piece for now. Moving on to this piece here, we are taking the other kind of boiler section almost. Again, doesn't tell you what it is, just labels it as part N. And that's going on to those two locating pins there and there. You can see. There we go, just like that. And then we need this piece here, which again looks almost like a fuse box. Such a nice cut that still stuck. And it's going into those two pins there and there. And it's going on with that kind of detail to the bottom. The gap, that hole there should be pointing down the way. Again, just on a wee peg there and there. Ooh. These holes are not wanting to, it's not wanting to go into the holes, these pegs. Give me 2 seconds. Either that or I'm not lining them up properly, which is also entirely possible. It is quite difficult to see. There we go. That's it on now. Very snug fit, that one. And that's what that looks like. Okay, so now what we're doing is taking the door section that we made, and it's going to fit into these two holes here. Other way around. It's going to fit into these two holes here. Actually fits in quite nicely. You probably won't need to glue that in, because that is quite a nice fit. And the same with the other side. It'll fit on, where does it stick into on this side? These two pins here go into the middle, like that. So it fits just like that. And then this is going to go into here. So this section here doesn't have any mounting points that run down the middle. So it's going to be held in place entirely by the other pieces. So I'm going to put a bit of glue in those pins just to hold it into place, just because it has no mounting point at the bottom. Just a little bit of glue around the sides as well. And put it in just like that, and make sure it's sitting straight. Just holding that in place for just a couple of seconds. Perfect. Okie dokie. And now what we're going to do is fit these walls into place. And they're going into the indents here, here, and here. Just like that. That looks really cool, in my humble opinion. Really, really chuffed with that. Awesome. So what we're doing now is taking this piece from earlier on and this white piece here, cutting the white piece off the sprue. There's a couple of empty sprues there I can get rid of. And we're gluing the white piece into this kind of grey box section. And the way we're gluing it is with the white, almost screen looking piece at the top there. You can just see through my finger. It should be pointing upwards. Again, I will show you what it looks like once I get it fitted. It should look like that with the mounting point at the bottom. And it is going into that desk just there. The only thing I'll say is this may have been easier to do before putting these walls in, but hey ho. That's alright. I was going to say it shouldn't be too bad, but it's not. So it sits in there just like that. Then the final piece we have is this piece here, looking just like that. You can guess where that's going to go. It's going to go onto this desk here. Now, there's a big hole in the back. I don't like that at all. I don't know if we're going to get something to stick in there later, but for me that looks unfinished. And they went to such great pains to cover the back of other sections, and then have left this one exposed. Okay. We'll see if they decide to fix it later. If not, I may have to try and come up with something myself. But that's what that looks like. And then we have another empty sprue, just like that. Then we need these two green parts here. Another empty sprue. And we need the two silver parts off of here. Which again, just cut off. Like that. Another empty sprue. And they glue in underneath these. I think they're calling them benches. So again, just try and get some of the roughness off the side there. Again. Okay, and these glue in to the undersides just like that. Okay, so get some glue in there, just like that. Just make sure it's sitting straight, because if it doesn't, your bench won't sit straight on the floor. Again, a little bit of glue in there. the silver, almost table leg in it. Just in like that. And then the next thing we're doing is gluing these benches into these two indents that you can see on the floor there. So I'm going to do this one first because I think it'll be more difficult to try and squeeze it in if you do it second. There we go. Nice snug fit. The same on that side. And just make sure they're sitting straight, because again you don't want them to be off kilter, and they look like that. Fantastic. And that, finally, is us for stage 23. So that's us for stage 23. What are we doing in stage 24? The forward PCB. Basically the control board that's going to control all the kind of lights and moving functions for the section that we've just finished. From experience with Bismarck, every section has its own control board, and then they all link together centrally to the power source. And they'll all be controlled by remote control. But what did we do in stage 23? We finished off all the details here. Now see, that bugs me, so I'll try and get some paint to go over that, but I think that looks pretty cool with all those details on the inside of those rooms. Again, it kind of hides the detail back here a little bit, but yeah, it'll give you lots of little points of intrigue to look at when you're looking inside the ship. But yeah, I think that's fantastic. So again, thanks for watching. Any feedback, comments, criticisms, do drop them down below. Do leave me a like, and do consider subscribing to see the rest of the U96, the rest of Titanic, and the 1966 Batmobile as well. So yeah, thanks for watching again, and as always guys, peace out everyone.